Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sister Leaders Conference. I hope that you are enjoying the conference so far and finding value in it this year. I am your moderator for this panel discussion, How to Handle Emotions in the Workplace. My name is Coach Kiva Lernice Murdaugh. I'm a certified life coach, brand strategist, speaker, facilitator, author, and the host and producer of Kiva's Place, the Kiva Murdaugh Show and podcast. So, joining me today for this panel discussion is Dr. Erica Sheffield, Dr. Eve Taylor, Lady Portia Bransham, and Kathy Taylor. So, welcome, ladies, to Sister Leaders Conference panel. I am so glad to have you here. So, we're going to allow you, ladies, just a couple minutes to introduce yourself before we dive right into our topic. So, Dr. Erica.
Hello, my name is Dr. Erica Sheffield. I am actually the CEO and founder of Anchor to Teach LLC, which is an educational consulting business. And I actually empower and provide strategies for business owners, education leaders, as well as teachers in the field. And as a keynote speaker, I'm actually, I have my platform that's called drericaspeaks.com, and I empower women to overcome life challenges. Some of the topics that I actually cover are based on the importance of education and students transitioning to college life, as well as trying to reduce the teacher turnover rate, and in empowering women to overcome things such as emotional bondage or just strategies for co-teaching.
I love that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Dr. Eve.
Well, I am Dr. Eve Taylor, and I reside in Northern Virginia. I am a wife, a mother of a Vietnam veteran, um, and uh, and then I am also the founder and the CEO of the Discover Your Why Leadership Ministries, Inc., which is a 501c3 organization. I am retired from the federal sector, but I'm also retired from the airline industry. I have traveled the world as a missionary evangelist throughout the continent of Africa, South America, and to include Beijing, Shanghai, and Hong Kong, China. I've written 2 books. The first book was To Discover Your Why, published January of 2012. I've just recently published a new book. It's called The Torn Fabric of America, uh, The Racial Divide, Black and White. And I teach and consult on leadership. My degree is in strategic organizational leadership from Regent University. And I've had many opportunities to speak at the Library of Congress, where my first book is on the shelf with former First Lady Michelle Obama. And I thought that was a great kudo to be in that esteemed platform of being recognized as an author and also a speaker.
Impressive. Well, welcome. We are so glad to have you here as well. Lady Portia.
Well, good day, everybody. I am Lady Portia, and I am a brand strategist as well as a business coach. I help ladypreneurs like yourself unleash your inner boss lady qualities, create that life that you've always desired, and help you transform your and life for the betterment of your life according to biblical principles. I am also the founder and the minister of the Gospel for She Ministries, which is an online community for leading ladies as yourself. And I am really honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Pleasure to have you here as well. And Miss Kathy.
Hello and greetings. My name is Kathy Taylor, and I am a transformational coach. In addition, I'm also the founder of the Diary of a Grown Up brand, where we embrace the changes and challenges that come with growth in life. And through that brand, I have published 2 books, a book and a journal. In addition to, we have a podcast, and it's all about having conversations. I am also a leadership development coach. In addition to, I am a professor for entrepreneurship with the ODU Women's Business Center.
I love it. Thank you so much. Welcome as well. So, ladies, let's dive right into our topic tonight. We're talking about how to handle emotions in the workplace. So, when I say how to handle emotions, what actually comes to mind? What's the first thing comes to mind when you hear emotions in the workplace?
I would like to answer that. What comes to mind based on my experience? What comes to mind, number one, how to deal with the other bodies in the workplace, how to deal with their personalities. That right there carries a lot of weight. How to deal with their personalities. Number two, how you respond to to what it is they're dishing out is another thing. That's right. That's two emotions right there. Your emotions, their emotions, and then number three, how to not sabotage yourself in the process because you want to respond to what comes across your table. You want to dish out what comes across your table, So for me, I think it's all about how, number one, for emotions in the workplace, how you respond to that, the emotions and personalities of everybody else, and then how to respect people in your sphere based on how you respond. These are the three I would look at.
I would say that to add upon what you just said, Lady Portia, is that a lot of time people carry their home baggage into their workplace, and they can't differentiate between from the home to the workplace. And so you go there and you may have a loose lip where you start telling people about your problems.
Yes.
And it becomes an emotional drain, not only on you, when you feel like people want to say, I don't want to hear that. Can we talk about something else? And then you feel a spirit of rejection because you think your workplace is supposed to be your place to get your healing or to get your voice heard or to have someone pat you on the shoulder and say, there, it's okay.
Yes.
And talk. And so we find, especially in the sister arena, where we want to always have some place that we can go and, I would say, drop all of our excess information on someone. And then when it doesn't turn out the way that we expected, now we have our little wounded feelings. We are hurt. We are bitter. And now what happens is you stand over in a corner and look and roll your eyes at that person like they did something to you. But you were the creator of that scenario of emotional drama that you brought into the workplace, that you need to, when you hit the front door and you pull it open, you need to know you're not taking your home drama into your workplace, that your workplace is your workplace. And there are plenty of emotions in the workplace for you to deal with because you have competition, you have attitudes, you have the behavioral patterns that is already there. And if you can't handle home, how do you expect to handle the emotion in the workplace?
Exactly. And just between what Lady Portia and Dr. Eve just said, we're going to break that down a little bit more. But before we do that, anybody else wants to respond to that?
What I was actually thinking about with emotions is very important for you to actually take into consideration that you're at the job place to do a job. I'm not there to actually, like Dr. E, bring my baggage from home into the workplace, but I'm there to do a job. I'm not there to make friends per se, but I'm there to strictly do a job.
Exactly. Yes. And we tend to be so guilty of that. And when I say we, let's be honest, let's keep it transparent. Most of the time it's us as women, right? Yes. We not only have very delicate emotional intelligence, we have we bring all of those emotions, everything we are feeling with us everywhere we go, and we do not do a good job in keeping those separated. Before we move on, Ms. Kathy, did you want to add to that?
So I feel like I have a different take. I'm always about making sure that there's a definition, right? So the first is understanding what workplace are you walking into. So it looks a little different from you walking into a corporate setting to if you're walking into a plant setting or a more industrial setting. So what those emotions or what people are used to sharing in the workplace may look a little different. And so I think that it's leadership's responsibility to set the tone for what that culture is going to look like and what emotions, when you're defining them, what that's going to entail. So a big part is leadership, and the culture is the first thing that I thought of when you asked that question.
Interesting. Now, I have to disagree with that just a little bit in the aspect of, I really believe that yes, leadership does play a huge role in setting the tone of emotions in the workplace, but we as individuals, we need to make sure that we are managing our emotions ourselves, because there are certain situations where you may not have strong leadership who's even equipped to handle various emotions in the workplace. They have that title, but they are not equipped to be in that position all the time and have all of the tools to manage all of those different personalities and emotions. So I definitely hear what Miss Kathy is saying, but I definitely want to just add on to that, is that we also as individuals need to make sure that we can manage our own emotions and have that intelligence to, just like Lady Portia said, not pop off when somebody else don't have a handle on their own emotions, right?
Yeah. So I hear you keep saying emotional intelligence. So hopefully we're going to get into that a little bit. So
we are.
Okay.
We are. Now, I also want to ask, is there such a thing as being too positive? Because we can really get bogged down in the negative emotions. What about the positive emotion? Is there such a thing as being overly positive in the workplace?
Well, I will address the overly positive person in this manner. A person that have a strong belief in themselves, that sometimes that strong belief can be a facade, that you are presenting that you are all of this, but behind the curtain, when you pull that curtain back, you see this weeping willow shaking in their knees saying, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But they're trying to stand and put their best face forward. And so in doing that, that over positive person is really sometimes from a psychological standpoint crying out for help because they don't know how to ask for help, but they present this person to you that they're saying, somebody please help me, because I can't handle all of my emotions right now. And the only thing I know is daddy, mama told me, hey, always be positive, never be negative. Find positive, find. So when somebody feed that into you so much without giving you a foundation for how to utilize your positive space and behavior and attitude, it could set you up for failure.
Anybody else? Okay. Well, let me ask this question, because, and especially being strong women as yourselves, have you ever had your emotions or personality be misconstrued into something that is not true about your personality?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So when it comes to work, I'm very black and white. It's get the job done. It's like I come in with a schedule as to the timetable as to how things are supposed to move. So I remember working at a hotel in the reservations office, and we are a group of ladies. Just as we say, the ladies walk in and they're like, hey, you will not believe what Joe did. You will not believe what, that whole conversation. And I mean, in all fairness, with us in the group, I'm the youngest. And so I really can't relate to what Joe did, so that right there, I can't join the conversation other than listening. But at the same time, I'm focused. I'm doing whatever it is. I'm attending to the guests. And everybody just started to give me that look like, you think you all of that, oh, Miss Missy. And they called me all the names in the book. I remember the supervisor got upset. She used to bring me, she would report me to the manager 1 minute to say, Portia is not social because she's not social with the rest of the staff. Okay. That was one comment. Then when I figured, okay, I'll start to talk to the staff because I guess that's part of being in the office. Then she goes, Portia is too social. So it's like you could not find that balance as to, okay, do you want me to talk or don't you want me to talk? So no matter what you do, they will find something to complain about. You just have to show up. So when they were giving out positions like promotions, I got it and they didn't. And now really we were in problems because they had more to say. But it all shows up in your work. I'm not saying that there isn't a time for you to laugh. There is a time for everything. But I think when you come to the workplace, and that's one of the work ethics that was taught to me from young. When you come to the workplace, you do your job, and you do not sidetrack from what it is. You go on lunch and you could talk there. But a lot of the times, I got picked on because they thought I was too Miss Missy, being so focused on what it was I was doing. So,
Anybody else?
Well, I just say that's a great point, Lady Portia, because self-identity, self-awareness, self-accountability, self-help, self-support for yourself, because as I had shared on our one other time, people there are people that walk in fear. They are fear of a little bit of everything. When somebody asks you to speak, they're afraid to state their mind. Oh, somebody will say something. And you find people sitting around, I'm so glad you said that. I was thinking that, and you find people always, once they found the person that stand out in the room, you find the people wanting to push that person rather than saying, let me step up and be a part of the conversation.
Exactly. What about you, Dr. Erica?
And I was actually thinking along the lines of, I'm from the educational sector, and I can recall from being in the K-12 sector that a lot of times I tend to see the challenges that other teachers are going through. And I'm always looking for ways in order to ensure that I kind of take the heat off of them, as I'm speaking from the lines of the special education department. And that was something that they because I'm very observant. So I sit back and I just observe, and it's like, wow, they have a lot on their plate. So I was always the one, what can I do to actually help out? And they were so appreciative of the fact of me taking some of that special education paperwork off of their table, because they were able to actually get in the classroom and really do what they were called to do, and that's to teach. So just being in tune with the stressors that people bring to the job force, and just seeing what can I do to actually reach out and help them. So that's what I did a lot of as well.
I love that. What about you, Miss Kathy? Anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I love what Dr. Erica said, because I worked in education for 20 years as well. And I know that just to go in the classroom and give the teachers a break of just the 5 minutes to just take a breath, or to give them a moment to recompose or to reset, it was so appreciated, and it gave them a chance to come back and do what they love. So I think that that's really good.
I love that. So let me ask you this then. We were talking about earlier about emotional intelligence. How important do you think emotional intelligence is in managing your own emotions, Miss Kathy?
Oh, you're right up my alley now. So I love to talk about emotional intelligence because I have this saying whenever I'm teaching a class on it to leaders is that there's two sides. You have to look in a mirror and you have to look out the window. And when you are talking about yourself, or when you're talking about self-awareness, it always starts in the mirror. But oftentimes that mirror is a lot smaller than that window, right? So oftentimes we're looking in that mirror, but you see all this stuff that's going on behind the mirror. So I'm saying it's because if Dr. Erica would just come in on time, then I can get my work done. If Dr. E would do this, then I could do that. But that's not really self-awareness.
Mm-mm.
That's the blame game, right? So true self-awareness is about what can I do? And let me look in the mirror to figure out what are my triggers. And whatever my triggers are, it's perfectly fine in understanding that. But I need to learn how to self-regulate those and figure out, okay, if it's a trigger for me that people come in late, then okay, that's fine. But I need to know how to handle myself accordingly when people come in late and not do the pop off. Here she goes. She's late again. And she's always this and she's always that. That has nothing to do with her. It's up to me to be self-aware enough to know that people coming in late is going to be a trigger for me. So let me have tools in my pocket so that I know how to respond appropriately if that happens.
Exactly. And what always trips me out is the ones who always have an issue with everybody else coming in late. But the moment they're late, they have an excuse for it. It's traffic, the baby got sick, something.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Anybody else wants to add to that?
I think Miss Kathy's on the point. It's knowing you and what you are able to tolerate or to withstand. I remember I worked at 2 hotels before moving up to the States, and each of them I spent 6 years there. And one of the things I noticed that you butt heads with people because, number one, people tend to see you and what you could become, whilst you are still not noticing what you are able to do. And I think a lot of people butt heads with me because of that. So one day I came across this message from TD Jakes, which I think most of us have heard it, the hostility on the job. And it gave me a whole different perspective as to how to show up on my job. And one of the things he was saying was, you're not going to dare to make friends. There's so much you're going there for. It's a job. You're getting paid for it. And from the time I took what he was saying, his teaching, and started to implement it for me, I realized I have to take, what do you call that? Points of what it is I would tolerate, what triggers me, what I do not accept, where I draw the line, when it comes to certain things. And the instant I started to do that for me, I made everything else just let it be, because you can't control other people. You could only control your emotions, how you respond, how you show up. And for me, it was important for me to learn that for myself. What it was, my trigger points, what it is that's been said as a joke or what is been said as being serious, where I draw the line as to whether or not I accept it, things like that. So I agree with Miss Kathy. You got to know you and what it is that you are prepared to accept as the professional personnel that you are.
Well, I would add to the conversation of all the great points that is being presented right now. From my perspective, in the emotional intelligence is something on a platform that I speak about when I have the occasion to speak, and when people ask me to come into the government sector and say, can you come in and speak about the Discover Your Why and the 7 words that you present. And it's so on point that a lot of time people don't understand their why. They don't understand the methodology of why certain things are with them and how they got to the place that they are. And then they are always confusing something that looks like it's real, but it's a facade. And so they have this image of themselves that they have created. And so they are emotionally trapped into a quagmire of, what do I do? When do I start? Where do I go? How do I get there? Who do I need? And they're constantly asking the questions. But what I find is when people are asking the questions, they never stop to say, what's the answer? Why am I doing this? You have to be the answer to the question, not go to somebody else and say, I'm going in the workplace with all these questions, and somebody best tell me why I need to sit in the chair over here in the corner, as opposed to, why can't my chair be over there where Miss Kathy is in the middle, where she's got all the traffic and the men go past her and go, whoo, whoo, whoo. I'm over here in the corner and getting no eyes, no looks. And I need to go talk to the manager now and ask, can I move my desk up front? Because I'm all the way back here and I just feel like I'm back here in the dark by myself and nobody else is back here. So you go through this emotional trauma trying to place yourself into a situation that maybe once you move that chair next to Miss Kathy, then you'll be complaining, it's too much traffic up here. She has too much noise. It's too much going on over there. I like my space in the back. Can I go back to the back? So therefore, know why you're doing something is what I would say to deal with your emotional intelligence.
I love it. I love it. Yes. Which actually brings me to my next point. Dr. Erica, what are some tips and strategies that you have found that worked for you in keeping those emotions in control in the workplace?
Oh, Lord. All right. First thing that comes to mind, you have to give yourself that 10-second rule to just kind of go and just kind of let loose and just be able to just kind of exhale. Because if not, a lot of actions that tend to happen in the workplace do not desire your immediate attention. Having that opportunity to really kind of reflect, is this something that I need to act on, or do I need to just leave it alone? So really honing in on the importance of which emotions are important and which ones, they're not really important, and I can go on with doing my job without addressing them. Knowing when to walk away is one thing that I know that I used to struggle with, because back in the day, it was like, I want my voice heard. I want them to be able to hear what I have to say. But sometimes silence is the best strategy possible, and just walk away and just go back, because a lot of times what my coworkers would do would look at me and like, oh God, well, she didn't actually give me a response. No, that wasn't my job. Whatever issues that you have going on in your life, that's something that you need to deal with, inside yourself, and it does not concern me. So those are some of your areas that I know that I have to work on with myself, and I've actually practiced, and I tend to practice every day.
I love that. Learn when to pick those battles, honey. Anybody else? Lady Portia.
I agree with everything Dr. Erica says. I really do. Learn how to get, know when to fight. That's what we say. Know when to fight. I would say, to add to that, I would say take a step back and just assess the situation, because sometimes the situation is, not one to give a negative comment to, but maybe a learning curve. Maybe that they said something negative, but you could turn that around completely to something positive. So assess the situation. I would add that in there for sure. And then the third one is, that was 1, 2. Ask for help. Because sometimes the person is, and that's from experience, the person is dashing out whatever it is secretly. You're the only one that's hearing it. You're the only one seeing it. And most of the times, the person, your supervisor, your manager, is not even privy to all of that shenanigans that's going on around you. So maybe sometimes you just need to bring it to the attention of of the manager and let the manager know. And the way I used to do it was I would tell the manager, listen, I think I won't even give the whole story. I won't call anybody else out, but I'm like, I think we need to address this kind of situation should in case it happens. So then you'd see the manager show up and say, okay, ladies, I just want to chat with you a minute about so-and-so situation. So we know how to handle it should in case it shows up. Now, between you and me, it's been showing up for a long time, but it served me nothing to go and do. Jack was misbehaving and Jill was misbehaving. So I think taking control over the situation in a professional way really helps, just the same.
I love that. I love that, especially the part ask for help. I love that. Miss Kathy.
So one of the words that I use often and I reflect on is the word intent. What is my intent for addressing certain issues? What is their intent behind doing certain things? Because my perception is my reality and your perception is your reality. So when you get down to it, what is the intent? Is it to bring attention to a certain situation, or is it to bring attention to themselves? Or is my intent to address it? Is it because I want to be seen? Or this is really a trigger for me and it has nothing to do with work. So I have to think back and sit back and think about what is my intent in saying something about whatever that is. Because the other part of emotional intelligence is social responsibility too. So understanding when you study, I think, Coach Keever, you study DISC as well. So understanding behavioral assessments and patterns, you also know that everything's not personal. And if this is just a part of their behavioral patterns, and if you are a C and they are an I, then you're like, okay, they're just intuitively extra anyway, or that's the way it seems to you, right? So you can't take it personal, or you can't say that it's a personal thing against you. So understanding that side.
And that's a huge one, especially not taking everything that happens around you personally. Yes, learning how to just separate those emotions and really just focus on whatever applies to you. But you are 100% correct. Not everything that occurs around us is for us to take personally. I love that advice. Thank you so much for sharing that. Dr. Eve?
Well, I was just sitting here thinking that, I sometimes use metaphors, but the fact is that sometimes we can get lost in our own tunnel. And in that tunnel depends upon when you come out, what are you bringing out with you? Because in the emotional intelligence arena, when we start thinking about the inward person and the outward person, and then the personality to the left and the personality to the right, because we women sometimes know how to make quick adjustments. We can go into a room temperature where it looks like it's like a hot mess going on up in here. Or we can go into a room where it looks like all professionalism. But if we have never experienced the professional side and we have dealt more with the messy side, when we go into that intelligence room, we kind of like, oh, whoa, I'm out of place. But I will say, for the person that may be unlearned in that professional arena, don't fear learning. Stand back, be patient, keep your mouth closed, but listen so that you can learn, so that you can step into that arena appropriately, rather than trying to go in and fit in and then make yourself a hot mess while you're trying to fit in.
I love that. Very sound advice. That's right. Read the room, feel it out, and also just be in that spirit to learn. I love that, Dr. Eve. Thank you so much for sharing. Well, listen, ladies, this has been an insightful conversation about how to handle emotions in the workplace. Thank you all for sharing. Thank you for being transparent. And I know that there will be a sister out there that is going to find value in just tools and tips and strategies that they can implement today in order to walk into the workplace tomorrow more sound, healthy, and in a good headspace. So thank you so much for sharing. I want you to take this opportunity to just drop your contact information so that our listeners out there can know how to get in contact with you. So Dr. Erica.
Okay. My contact information, I can actually be reached at info@anchored2teach.com. My website for my business is anchored2teach.com as well. My phone number, I can be reached at 205-961-4585.
Thank you so much. Dr. Eve?
Well, I can be reached on my website, which is the www, the numeric number 2, discoveryourwhy.com. Also, my email address is dywtayloreve3@gmail.com. That's dywtayloreve3@gmail.com. And you can follow me on all of my social media links. And when you go to my website, you can find some additional information about me on the website. So it's all out there on the website. Just follow me on my website and my social media links.
Thank you so much, Dr. Eve. Miss Kathy?
So I'll keep it simple. I am KathyTaylor.com.
Awesome.
So,
Thank you.
I am KathyTaylor.com or
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Miss Kathy.
oh, no worries. So my email is info@IamKathyTaylor.com. And it's I am Kathy Taylor on all social media as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Sorry about that. And finally, Lady Portia.
So you could get me on the website, and that's www.portiabasham.com. Sorry, www.portiabasham.com. And on the website, you'll get all my social media handles. It would be Portia Basham for Instagram and likewise Clubhouse. I would like to also give you the website for She Ministries, which is www.sheministriestv.com, and you'll be able to get all our information on there as well as to when we come on our live broadcast on Daily Gospel Network, and as well as when we come on live for our private Zoom sessions. Thank you.
Awesome. And if you would like to reach me, you can reach me on all social media at Kiva Lernice Murdahl. You can also reach out to me on my Linktree. Just go to Linktree/Kiva Murdahl. Everything that I do, all of my website, my businesses, you can find everything right there. If you would like to be a guest on my show, definitely reach out to tinyurl.com /Kiva's Place Booking, and you can find all of our booking information right there. So thank you so much for joining, for registering, and for watching Sister Leaders Conference. I know that you will continue to find value in this conference. We look forward to seeing you next year. So until next time, family, let's continue to share, connect, and glow, because building your network also builds your net worth. So peace and blessings. Until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.